Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Let the conversation begin. This is Let's Talk with your host, Carl Lee.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee with Let's Talk. And today will be probably the first time that I have had an opportunity to actually get a family member on the show. My nephew is going to be on, and I'm going to start with him. I'm going to have him introduce himself and to tell. Here's the deal, Shawn, but I'm going to call him Gus because that's what we know him as, and everybody else probably knows him as that as well. So, Gus, tell us what you do and tell us, and today's show, just so you know, it's going to be about bodybuilding and the work that it requires to get there. So give me your awards, all those kind of things, and let's kind of go from there.
My name is Shawn Lee. Work for the water company, been there 16 years. Started bodybuilding about 3 years ago. Done 3 shows, won all my shows, 2 overalls, which is what you want. That's every category. So if there's 5 groups, A, B, C, D, E, whatever it is, the top guys from those divisions step on stage at the end of the night for the overall. So there's no weight class, no height class. It's just the best of the best. And you show it off and see what happens.
And you said you've done 2?
I've done 3 shows. 3. And the first show I won first place in all my divisions. I missed the overall.
Last 2.
Second show, third show, won all my divisions, got both overalls. So
all right, Derrick,
now, that's what we doing.
I hear you. All right, Derrick.
Tell them how you feel, Gus. Yeah.
There's a little bit of confidence there. Nothing wrong with that.
For those that don't know me, my name is Derrick Toliver. I am a loving husband, father, and 18-year military veteran. Fell in love with fitness as a child. Got into bodybuilding about 20 years ago, but didn't do my first competition until last week. NPC, Armed Force Nationals and Battle Royale in Washington, D.C. Did take home first place in the Masters, which is the 40 and over category. That was not the goal. The goal was to get first overall. But you step on them big stages and you look around and everybody works hard. It's a grind. So I'm here. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for having me on the show, Carl.
No problem, man.
Let's talk about bodybuilding, man. I love it.
Well, and I think and the interesting component about it is, to me, it doesn't really, it's different than sports. It's a different kind of lift and all of those kind of things. Now, my next guest, that I promise you that I will be talking bad about him as the show goes on. I'll make the case that he'll be my Hollis Lewis today, since Hollis is not there. Wes Dorcas is supposedly the mastermind behind a lot of the work that these 2 young men have put in. So, Wes, tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Wes Dorcas, and believe it or not, I'm not a bodybuilder. I'm a powerlifter. Basically, I've been working out with Gus for like 18 years, but I've been in his ear to motivate him to do a show because I was still competing. I had fun powerlifting. I had 2 state bench press records, and
what were those?
446 raw lift, and then 405 for a push lift. And back in 2015, I had a window of being in the Paralympics, but that gets pretty expensive, so that kind of went out the window with that.
All right, so tell me when you and Gus started talking, and you were trying to convince him to do it. What was it that motivated you, or you decided to motivate him to actually get into this field?
His work ethic. Like, he already has genetics, and the genetics plays a big role in it. And all it took was for us to just showing some couple pictures of people who are already doing it, and like, bro, like you can do this. Like, I don't know why you're not doing this, because we both love working out. Fitness becomes a part of your life, so why not include this and still have fun with it?
Was that because you were doing the power stuff?
Yes, sir.
So how much of the power stuff transfers over into the bodybuilding? Because in my mind, as an athlete thinking about lifting, you know, I'm thinking about reps for cutting, trying to get, you know, get the muscles to cut up. I'm doing reps with lighter weight. I want to get a little bit stronger, so I'm putting some more weight on there. That's kind of about the extent, I think, of from an athlete standpoint. That's what we're looking for. What is that difference when you see a guy and you're saying, okay, Gus, I think you can do this? What is that type of workout that you want to get him onto?
Powerlifters would normally do anywhere between like 5 to 3 reps. Bodybuilders would do roughly 8 to 15. So when Gus and I would work out, before he decided to bodybuild, we would do like a bodybuilding workout. That would make him bigger and more dense. And then once he found like an idea, okay, I'm going to do this show, then he has to change his workout to more rep counts. We'll do 8 to 12, 12 to 15. And
you're talking reps. You're
yes,
talking
sir.
reps there, okay?
Yeah.
Just for the listeners who might not get all that.
And I'm lifting for more force, speed. And then Gus is trying to make a muscle-mind connection, which means he can do lighter weight, slow down his bench press. Like, for example, he would do a 3-2-1 tempo, meaning it'll be 3 seconds coming down, 2 seconds coming up, or vice versa. I'm trying to do more speed as possible because I have to get through the sticking point and lock out for my reps to count.
All right, so Gus, when you first started lifting, and your mindset now was going to, I want to compete. What was your weight when you started, and where are you now?
I was 162 when I started, and I'm 173 now, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for my little frame, 5 pounds looks like a lot more on stage. So most of the time when people see me at shows, hey man, how much you weigh? 185, 190? I wish. I wish it was that, but it's 173. I think last time I was on stage, I was 173. For actual stage, I was 165. So 165 is what my last stage weight was, but I need to get to about 175, 180 and mold that and define that.
Are you planning on competing some more? And that's why you're saying you need to get to that weight?
Yeah, I was actually looking to do a show last weekend or weekend before last. It was a show that I could have actually got the pro card had I wanted, but they had a restriction on it that you had to have competed this year. And I hadn't competed this year, just, you know, some family issues, things going wrong.
Right.
Had a rough time, had to shut down for a little bit. Talked to some family, some friends, got some good advice, got a little bit of motivation, decided I was going to jump back out there and get this mission completed, which is to get that pro card for my mom. So, you know, the last thing we talked about before she passed away, we were talking about this next show and her being there and me getting the card and me looking at her and saying, we did it. Well, I lost her, so it was just like my reason at the moment was gone. My place of peace, which is the gym, was no longer peaceful. It just wasn't the same. So I was just going through the motions. Well, I talked to you, you know, I talked to Wes, talked to Mr. Saunders, talked to a few friends, and they all came with the same message. Your mom wouldn't want you to stop. She know how much you love this. She know how hard you worked at it to get where you at, and she would want you to get it done. So you need to push forward, push through, and at the end of the day, when I get it done next year, I'm gonna look up and I'm gonna tell her, Mom, we did it.
And there is no question in my mind that you will get that done. I 100% understand that, and he's speaking of my sister, my youngest sister, who we lost in February, and but we'll move past that. That's a tough one.
Yeah,
so Derrick, you weigh what, and how much did you weigh when you got started?
So I started once I knew my football career was over at West Virginia State College. All right, I was about 150 pounds, so I didn't get much gain back then. Coach Lee ain't put me in. I sat the bench a lot. All right, but once I knew the football days, I needed something else because I'm not the guy that just sits around. Right, so I needed another passion to fall in love with, and started working at the South Charleston Community Center. We all started there around the same time, and when the gym closed, the workers, we went to work. That's the time that we went to work. And,
okay, so let me ask to that point right there. When you all work's done, going into the weight room, because I can remember working out with some guys back in the day. We were having fun kind of working, but I couldn't get my best work with that group. Sometimes I needed to kind of get off by myself. How did you guys? Was it competition? Was it egos
all the
in
time?
The room?
Competition.
No,
All the time. Maybe not with me and Derrick, but me and Gus.
yeah.
Competition.
Gus would complain. I would never give him a compliment. He would never give me one, so we was at each other's necks all the time.
Yeah.
Like if you didn't know us, you would think we were like angry because we would cuss each other out. Like it
You
was
would definitely think if you walked in the gym and seen us working out, you'd be like, "Hey, somebody need to watch them. They're gonna get in a fight today. They don't like each other." But that's just how we pushed each other. I know how to push his buttons. He know how to push mine. So I know when he hit a weight for a certain amount of reps, I'm gonna say, "Oh man, you need to put some more weight on there. Get some real weight on the bar and do some work."
So go ahead, Derrick. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
So, for me, it was just about keeping up. I was 150 pounds. I was real light. Didn't have a lot of muscle mass. I was fit, just didn't have a lot of muscle mass. And so over the years, as I fell in love with bodybuilding, I started getting really big. I mean, my first couple months, I remember asking, people asking me, "What are you taking? Did you start taking steroids?" Because the muscle comes quick, right? For guys like me and you, It came real quick for us. So once I realized that I had the genetics that I could do this, I ballooned. I mean, I was up to 220 at one time, just muscle. Now, me being in the military and having to run occasionally, that didn't work too well to be 220. So I dialed it back a little bit. Right now, I'm sitting around 185, 190. I stepped on stage, I was 180. So you just kind of have to gauge where you look your best, because in the men's physique category that me and Gus compete in, it's not a weight class, it's a height class. So you can be as big or as small as you want to be, as long as you fit the criteria of what men's physique is. Wide shoulders, back definition, V-taper, small waist.
Okay, so explain to the listeners and to me, like when you're talking about that class, what are the requirements of that class? Like height, weight.
Yeah, so it is there are height classes. Okay. Depending on how many
See,
athletes
I think most people would think that it was a weight class.
Right.
Because of lifting.
Now,
Right.
for the other divisions, bodybuilding and classic physique, there is a weight class. But for physique, which we do, there's no weight class. It just goes by height. That's why it's kind of good. Like you said, if you got good genetics for it, it's really good, because it's not who's the biggest, it's who's the best.
When you say best cut, you're talking
as
about
far as the best, that's balance and symmetry. So
Good.
your shoulders
Yeah.
and your chest match.
Conditioning and vascularity.
Yeah.
Shoulders, you want to have a V-taper, small waist. You want to have good definition in your core, your back, your shoulders. Again, they told me my arms were too big for the competition. They dinged me on points because they said my arms were too big. So they don't want a bodybuilder look at all. They don't want you to be bulky and vascular. They want you to be real sleek and conditioned in this category.
So, Wes, what gave you the idea of first your own motivation to get into this, and then what prompted you then to start saying, hey you, I think that you can do this? Where did you get again, I'm sitting in the room with four, or I'll say myself and three other black men, and you don't see a lot of black bodybuilders, which is what most people automatically think it is, regardless of what the difference that you all compete in. they see it as bodybuilding. You don't see like a lot of black men who are interested in putting in that work. I see a lot of guys working at the rec myself. I see a lot of dudes going into the weight room, lifting, and when I don't,
until you get backstage, coach, until you get backstage and you realize that the top tier of athletes on the bodybuilding stage, men's physique stage, or the classic bodybuilding stage, they're all black.
Really?
Three at the top, or two of the top three Mr. Olympias this year were black. So there is that platform for black men to compete. And like I said, the top tier of guys, they are black. But around here, you're right. Around here,
you just don't see a lot of it in local places. Right. But on the mainstream, the big stage, the big names, they're the black guys. They at the top.
Yeah, I mean, you look at like Lee Haney or Ronnie Coleman. These are black men. They won more Mr. Olympias than anybody, more than Arnold Schwarzenegger, more than anybody. So
see, and I would again. That's again. I don't have like I don't think people have that idea, and I don't. And again, to me, if I'm listening to this show, and I've got a young kid who I'm taking to the weight room, or ultimately wants to go to the weight room. I get it, the lifting of sports. You need that, but to me, this type of lifting that you guys are doing now, Wes, yours is a little bit more explosive, and heavy and that type of thing, but which is, I'd say, sports related. But you're competing in that as strength,
right?
So it's a combination to me of what the three of you all are doing is kind of what I think almost everybody should be trying to do, right? I mean, what's the purpose of going into the weight room?
Everybody can't do what we do.
I get that. I get that. I 100, because the reason why I wanted you all here, because it isn't something that everybody can do. But the problem is we don't have enough people who know about it. And, can you get it? I don't know if you can get it, but are you willing to go at it? And again, for most people, I think, and I could be wrong, and you guys will know that you'll jump in if I'm not. I think if I'm going to go to the weight room, I'm going when I was playing ball. I'm going to do the things I need to do to play ball. But that I'm not playing ball, I'm not going unless I got something. I'm going for something, because it ain't where it. I can't motivate myself to go if I'm not playing ball, unless I'm saying, okay, I want to be so strong, or I want to cut up. I mean, I don't know any other reason to go.
Well, Coach, the gym is an environment for multiple vices. I like to be strong, so that might be my goals. That might not be the next person's goals. The next person might be an alcoholic. He might be trying to step away from the bottle. You might have guys or girls in there that suffer from depression. So just that hour,
positive,
absolutely,
get positive,
absolutely.
Okay,
so not everybody has those goals. I was small. I had some insecurities. Most of us do. That's why we started going to the gym so hard.
I'm not gonna lie to you. I want to look good with my shirt off when I got started.
but
there's a whole lot of people who have that same reasoning.
But that means at one point you looked in the mirror and you didn't feel like you looked good with your shirt off.
Right.
So now you want to look good with your shirt off. So at some point there is a level of insecurity that got us started. It was we wasn't good enough somewhere. We went through a heartbreak. We went through some depression. We went through something that got us in there, and now it clicked. And we got to stay in there just to keep that from ever coming up on us again.
That's a fact.
All right. So where did you get the information? I've known you for you practically family.
Right.
So I'm trying to figure out, where did you get any of this information from that you could step in and then pass that on to other people?
Believe it or not, all it took was my old strength coach. The very first time I met him.
Who was that?
John Messenger.
Oh, okay.
He noticed something about me. He knows I had a good bench at my weight class. I was my first real goal. I was 22, and my goal was to get 605 in 10 years. This is before I got sick. And then he's like, Wes, you should powerlift. I didn't know anything about it. He told me, if you want to have a strong bench, if you pay attention to all the good powerlifters, they have a big belly. I was against that. I'm like, whatever. But then he just took me under his wing and showed me some things what he could do. And
was that what you said? The big belly thing, was that because needing to eat?
Yeah.
And because I try to tell people that eating is a critical piece to getting your size and all of that kind of stuff. But now you could just have been greedy.
In their sport, abs and good chest and symmetrical, like Shawn said earlier, is the core of winning. If you pay attention to all the powerlifters in the past, big burly chest, belly, so they can. It's just strategic. Like I have long arms, so my bench path is going to be longer than most. So if I had a bigger belly, my bench path is only going to be like 3 to 4 inches.
That's the reason for that,
right?
Oh, I see. I would have never thought that.
Yeah, and so I started paying attention to the sport, and believe it or not, I tried to get Gus to powerlift with me. He wasn't going for that. So I know
you're too pretty for that. The big belly, me and the big belly wasn't going to work out.
So, but you start doing the research. You look for his weight class, you look for the age, because my competition separated from weight class and age, more so weight class than anything. So you start, I'm looking at my weight class, I'm looking at Gus's weight class. Like, bro, if you compete in powerlifting, you would smash every event because just your weight class in general. I already know he's strong. We just got to fine tune some things. Teach him how to bench like a powerlifter. It's a completely different direction. Powerlifters and bodybuilders bench differently. So he didn't want to do it. I'm like, bro, I know you as an athlete, you want to compete. You don't want to just sit there and go, oh, that is boring. So we just start looking like, bro, let's look into bodybuilding. Like you could do this. Just start researching and find something. And this came natural to him. What was
the catch that made you decide to do it? And Derrick, what was the catch that made you like say, okay, this is it. This is the direction that's the direction I'm gonna go.
For me, Wes, he stayed in my ear. He just kept saying, bro, you need to think about it. So on my 39th birthday, when I woke up that morning, I just was like, you know what? Let's do something different. Get outside my comfort zone. Let's jump on stage. So I called Wes, said, hey, show is in 3 weeks. I can't be the biggest, but I can make sure nobody is better conditioned than me. Find me a diet and let's get to work.
3 weeks?
Yeah.
3 weeks. That's impressive.
Yeah, I was going to say that was going to be my thing.
Yeah.
Like
it wasn't no.
I thought it was okay. I remember we were looking for a show within a reasonable time because you want to find a show to give you a reasonable time for you to get ready. Then once you find the show, then you got to find a coach because I don't know anything about dieting. Like I know very little to get you going and get somebody started, but after that, you need to find somebody more advanced. And then posing. That's posing wins shows. You're going to hear that a lot because if you can't pose, you're not going to win. You can have the best physique, but if you do not know how to pose, they will kill you on points.
All right, that'll be something interesting we'll do in the next half there. But what was the moment, Derrick, for you? What was the thing that like snapped and said, okay, this is the direction that I'm going. I got to get on the stage.
Well, you find a lot of people that have the work ethic and they don't have the genetics. Then you find a lot of other people that have the genetics and don't have the work ethic. I have both. I'm just blessed. I'm blessed with good genetics. I know how to work hard. 2 things I got going for me. For me, I'm 42 years old, so it was just about checking a box. We used to talk about it back in the day, compete. We've always bumped into each other in the gym, and that's the conversation. We had it last time I seen you. Yeah, last time I saw you, I asked what's next, and you said the same thing. You got to step on stage. So for me, it was about, I've always wanted to do it. I want to see where I stand against some of the best physiques in the country. I picked a big show to do for your first time. I went to D.C., there was a lot of athletes backstage. So for me, it was, where do I stand? What has this hard work? What can I achieve? Or how close is that pro card? How close is it? I got backstage. I realized it's not far. Matter of fact, it's doable. Yeah.
You at the door.
And then when
do is open it.
And then when you see that, you think, well, am I willing to do what it takes to get there? And that's where my dilemma is. Am I willing to do what it takes? Again, I got a wife and 3 kids. It's hard to just put those things on the back burner to pursue some goals that I have at 42 years old. I mean, my goals now is a family man. That's what I want to do. So we'll see. I don't know. But for me, it was just about getting out on stage, competing with the best in the world, getting outside my comfort zone, and handling business.
How long was it when you got started for you just now winning? Like, what show was this for you? How many shows did you do prior to this win? This is your first one.
My first one. So I lifted weights all these years, 20 years. Fell in love with bodybuilding, was doing bodybuilding just with no competitions. So in the gym, I'm doing bodybuilding workouts. Been pretty consistent with a good diet this whole time. But once I decided I wanted to do it, honestly, I could have been ready in 5 or 6 weeks. I was there. I spent about 16 weeks preparing, but there was really no difference between week 5 and week 13. It was all just, fine tuning at that point. I probably could have did it a lot faster, but I wanted to make sure that I had enough time because it was my first time, and I ain't had no coach. Wes ain't called me until after the show.
See, I can see that. I can see that from him. He wanted to get on the wagon.
No, I didn't have a coach. My wife prepped my meals. We looked at Google. We looked online. We did it together. So for us, it was like a team effort. I didn't want to hire nobody because the fitness community around here is small. So you hire one buddy, your other buddy mad at you. Stuff like that. I just wanted to avoid and not get into it. So it's something I looked in the mirror and I said, hey, we can make this happen. Let's do it. And we did.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back at you.
Contact Carl Lee on email. Let's talk carllee@gmail.com or text 409-422-7539.
You're listening to Let's Talk with Carl Lee. Sponsorship opportunities are available. Email letstalk@promessage.com or call 304-342-8131. For more information, visit WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk. Now, back to the conversation.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you could have been in the break. I was telling my guests, all of them, like, hey, do you guys have anything that you want to get out to make sure we cover it? And Derrick says, yeah, I got something. He says, why didn't you play me? He said, Coach, why you ain't play me? And let's talk about that.
Let's talk about it. I was an all-state football player in high school. Went to West Virginia State College at the time. Played for Coach Lee. Let me first of all say I got so much respect for you as a coach and as a man. To this day, I do not wear my hats in buildings. To this day, all right. So I took a lot from that season. That I met a lot of cool brothers I still keep in touch with. But yeah, we want to know. Well,
before I go there, just so you know, I wear, as you see, I have my hat on in the building. I know. Okay. And I always did wear my hat in the building. But when I was in college, my coach made me take my hat off all the time in the building. I came to our first team meeting. I walk in, I'm late on top of that. So I'm already in trouble, okay? So I walk in, coach tells me that I will never ever be late again. But I got my hat on. I'm, cuz that's what I do. I'm used to wearing my hat. And brother, by the time I got the introduction to Marshall University, I was like, okay, I know not to wear my hat. But as soon as I got done with it, I was fine with it. But I knew that was a lesson of discipline. Because if you tried to beat me on it, you were just trying to beat a simple rule. And if you took your hat off without me being there inside of the building, then you learned a lesson. And a valuable lesson when somebody tells you don't do something, you don't do it. So that part of it, I'm proud of that. I'm proud of that. You, as far as you playing, I think you said you was 150 when you came in. now, I was small too, but I wouldn't. Let's see. I got to 164. I graduated high school 55. Got there 64. Left there at 85ish or so. I'm not sure that you left. I don't know where you left at, but I don't think you left at 80. Because you talk about all buffed up now and you just tried to get to 80, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's your reason.
I can sleep now.
You can sleep.
I can sleep and I can wear my hat in the building.
And you can wear your hat in the building. All right, one of the things that I had asked the crew about, was there anything specific that they wanted to get out? Because and let the public know. And Wes, one of the things that I'm curious about from you is what is the mental, the reading, the studying about this thing that people think is just to go to the weight room, right? Like a lot of people just go to the weight room. You know, they just walk into the weight room, start, get under the bench press, do 15 of 135, do a squat, just put some weights on, just go. Where is the foundation of learning to do the work that these two are doing and the work that you do? Where do you get that? And added to that, what is the mistakes that you think that most people make in the weight room when they go to work out just by themselves? And you two make sure you think about that too, because I want to know what you guys think too.
They're not scared to ask questions. I mean, they're scared to ask questions for anybody advanced. You'll see a lot of high school kids in there on their phone, Googling YouTube weightlifting, but
for a program
where like a lot of us, we all started in the same place. Like we didn't have YouTube, Instagram, anybody like that to relate to. People from like we would ask you for questions. We would ask Coach Mess questions. There's a couple. I had one of my grandmother's former students, Kevin Americo. As soon as he realized, he put two and two together who I was, I bugged him. He did not care. He was very helpful. Like a lot of the time, we don't mind asking questions. We're trying to play it forward. Like Coach Metz helped me out a lot. And then it's just nobody wants to ask questions. They think they're going to be embarrassed or that we won't help them. Now, don't get me wrong. When I'm working out, I do look like angry all the time because I try to convince myself. Like my motivation, believe it or not, is funny. I never played football in my life, but I always try to like keep the mindset the NFL is going to call me the next day. So I gotta be ready. Be ready to get on the field. But that's what got me going. And so, and they can see, like, I'm like, if they don't know me, I look angry. But if they ask me a question, I don't mind helping people out because, like I said before, you helped me out asking you for advice. Kevin, Coach Matt, just random older people who ask me and I pass it down. Like if they weren't scared to ask questions, I promise you we'd be more than happy to help you. And I think what it is, I have a habit. They think they know everything. They can just Google it at their fingertips. Which at the end of the day, you may see them do it correctly, but at the end you're not doing it right because you don't have that foundation.
Can you actually like go to YouTube and get a workout program and jump in and start doing it? Because I know that you can mock, you can do the reps that they say and all of that, but there has to be a mental piece to that workout also. And because if you don't understand what you're getting, so I just go to YouTube and they tell me to do 15 of this and 10 of these and 4 of these and 8 of those and do them consecutively, I'm going to get like they look. But that's not always true.
A lot of people think that.
But
you get on the internet and Google workouts, and I mean, it's endless.
I mean, you can still do that.
There's a million workouts on there that you can find and do, but that doesn't mean that you're going to get to the point where you can hop on stage like we do because there's a different technique. Like Wes was saying, powerlifting is pushing weight. So he's just moving weight. His focus is moving that weight from point A to point B. Whereas when me and Derrick are training, there's a difference, pushing weight and training. So we need the muscle-mind connection. So instead of focusing on 260 pounds, yeah, we can probably do it, which 260, I can do 260.
I can definitely do 260.
But the thing is, the muscle-mind connection is every rep, you want to feel that squeeze in the chest. So if you're not feeling that squeeze, there's no muscle-mind connection. You need to come down and wait till you feel that squeeze. Even the pros, some of the biggest pros out there, you ask them how much is their max, they don't know because they don't max.
I don't know.
They lift, move the weight, long as they feeling that contraction in the chest. If they work in chest or we doing arms, I want that bicep to be moving. I don't want to be swinging with the motion. You need that muscle-mind connection for every rep. You want to feel that muscle squeeze. contract and squeeze. That's
and I'm interested in the muscle mind. That's a new term for me. So Derrick, what, like, if you walk into the weight room, you go to the rec, you look in, you've seen this dude, he's been in the weight room for every time you come, and he's got a workout plan going, but he's been in it 2 years. He got the same look.
It happens a lot.
A lot.
A whole lot. Yeah.
I mean, I've been at the rec for a long time, and I know a whole lot of folks that's there every day and come out looking exactly the same for, I don't know, 8-9 years. What do you say to them, and can they even hear you if you try to say something to them? And if you were saying, look, if you're trying to get cut up, and I'm not saying they got to be wanting to get cut up to do a show, but you want some abs, you want some chest, you need some biceps, you want some forearms. You need to shift your workout to something, right? What?
Absolutely, and that sounds good. But me personally, I stay in my lane in the gym. When I go in there, I focus on me. I focus on me. Now, if somebody asks, I'll give them all the help they need, or all the help I can help them with. Anything I can do for them, I'll be glad to give back and help you. That's great. But a lot of people these days, they'll take that as arrogance, or they'll get offended that you trying to coach them up.
To the arrogant piece, I can't. Okay, if I don't know y'all two, okay, and I see y'all in the weight room, okay, I'm automatically. First of all, I'm probably not coming up to you because, like, y'all over there doing some kind of work, y'all cutting up, y'all might have a tank on and something like that. So I'm probably not gonna talk to y'all because I already see that. They ain't gonna give me no help, And so I think there could be there could be some intimidation there, and then Wes, come on, you over there throwing up 15 plates on each side. I'm not coming talking to you. Even if I want to, you know what I'm saying? Even if I want to get there, I just don't have, or I'm not going to say me, but there are people who are not really going to, I don't know if they can break that, their own ego to actually go hear something, learn it, and copy it, and get some of that.
I'm 3 shows deep, and I still, if I see somebody in the gym and I like, oh, what's that? I'm going to go ask them.
Yeah.
If you don't ask, you won't know.
Yeah, and I get asked all the time. Some people do ask, but it's all about your presence and trying to be approachable. Because I understand that some people may be intimidated. It may be the first day in the gym. I don't walk around like Wes with a mean mug. I don't do that. I smile. I'm having a good time.
You're having a good time, right?
I'm having a good time. So for me, the connections and the some of the relationships you build in the gym, that's important to me. Some of the networking that I've done in the gym is important to me too. So, I got friends that are 60, 70 years old just because they're in the gym at the same time I'm in the gym.
Right.
So that's important to me. So I don't walk around me, right? I'm nice. I'm a nice guy. I want that to exude out of me when I work out.
That's just to keep me motivated, bro.
But see, you the guy that I'm not coming up to, and I might need something.
But here's the thing, though, like, if I do see, okay, I don't do this all the time, but if I'm good friends with your father and I see a kid younger than, like, oh, I know your dad, I'll take it upon myself and just tweak some things. Like, a lot of times people don't pay attention. It's just the grip or the angle. And when I say angle, I mean how you lift the weight. But I don't mind if I know your mom or your dad, like somebody who's my age, I'll go to the kid if I know I'm like, hey, this is how you do it. I don't mind stepping out if I see them doing it, because I don't want nobody to get hurt at the end of the day. Because, like I said, a lot of people before me just took me under the wing, and that's basically what I'm trying to.
And well, let me ask this question. This is going to be kind of a crazy question, I think. I know South Charleston High School. They have. Everybody has their workout program that particular time that they work out. But in most cases, very few high schools have strength and conditioning coaches, which makes no sense to me. And I'm not disrespecting the coaches or any of the coaches that are, because there can be coaches in there who can lift 350 pounds and all that kind of stuff, but because you can lift that does not mean that you can necessarily put together a program. You know, when I got there, I wouldn't touch it, you know, because, I did my own stuff and it worked for me. But I know that won't work for everybody. So I passed that on to another coach who was his degree was in all of that kind of stuff. So he kind of created the workout, and some of the kids weren't interested in it because it was something that was different than what they know. But when you think about high schools, how valuable could a strength and conditioning coach be for high schools? And the value to me is worth paying for it. You know, what do you guys think?
I mean, you got to think. It all starts it'll help show discipline. So when I was coaching soccer last year, I kind of started a weightlifting program for my girls. I had them in the weight room every Tuesdays and Thursdays, and it benefited from it. Some of them got the bug. They liked fitness, and some others didn't. They just went in there trying to get better. So I think it will show a start of discipline, and if they see that, like they see the progress, they see the growth, they see the change, like, oh, snap, I'm getting stronger, I'm going to get faster, they will keep coming if they put the work in. But I really believe I think it starts with a discipline. Like, that's how you know who's going to put the work in for you and run, like if you can convince that player to run through a wall for you.
But let me say this real quick. Nobody in high school likes working out. For the most part, no athlete likes working out. But you know how many days I went to the gym? I didn't want to be there. That's how you win. You go when you don't want to be there.
That's exactly right.
That's how you win.
Yeah.
So absolutely, it'll be extremely beneficial for a strength and conditioning coach at any high school. And if you're not in the weight room, because scholarships aren't given out on the field or on the court. The guys that put the work in the gym, there's a clear separation by the time you graduate high school. If you're not in the weight room your junior year, grinding it out, you can kiss it. Yeah, you can kiss it goodbye because you're competing against other athletes, other local athletes. All right. And occasionally we'll run across a West Virginia athlete that can compete at the next level in a Power 5 occasionally. Right. But I think that's the difference. I think the difference is the weight room.
I have said that, West Virginia has been considered like one of those states that do not, and I'm going to use football primarily for this one, okay? That we don't produce a lot of athletes out of West Virginia. But if you go back and you look at the ones that we did produce, and you look at the success that they had,
They did well.
Extremely well.
They did well.
Right? And so if we can produce those, where are the other kids that are like those? And to me, I make this case. It is because we don't have, my dad bought me weights when I was finishing junior high, going to high school. The concrete weights with the plastic around it, you drop them, it cracks inside. I'm out there lifting in the backyard. Dad's out there with the motorcycle, and I'm not just doing no plan. I'm doing what that bench had. I bench press, overhead, leg lifts, just that kind of stuff. And I got hooked on that. And when I first got to Marshall, we didn't even have a weight room. So we got a weight room, and then I started lifting there. And from there, I was a 365-pound bench presser at 180-some pounds. And to me, I think that we don't focus on the weight room enough. We think it's something that you're supposed to do, but we got this kind of light kind of program. You get in there, and then you get too many people in there, you ain't getting work done. Am I right on that? I think that where we're losing it is in that weight room, because if we can produce these kids to get stronger, tougher, And because everybody gets a little cocky. The first time you see a little cut underneath your chest and it's sticking out a little bit, man, you cutting your shirts out, you cutting the sleeves out. First bicep you get, you cutting the sleeves out of every shirt you got.
I done had a couple friends that say, hey, man, I want to come work out with you and you train me. And they come, and about 3-4 weeks, they get a little size on the chest or a little shoulder pop out. They disappear. It's over.
It's done.
It's over.
Because they want the look.
That's all they wanted was a little look. Once they got it, boom, it was over.
But if you, to me, and I think that's true in high school too. I think if you put them in a situation to where they're lifting, now they're in the weight room. 90% of the time they in the mirror, and the game itself is less relevant to them. They're not taking that lifting and that body to the game. They want it for the hallway. You know, they want to walk down the hallway and look good in it.
It's wild that you said that about the high school kids, because if you go to the rec center, you can sit in there 10 minutes. 10 minutes. And I guarantee you, every high school kid in there, you're going to see them taking pictures or flexing and posing. And I'm thinking to myself, I tell Wes all the time, bro, why are they flexing and posing in the mirror? I'm competing and I'm not in the mirror flexing and posing. I'm talking about shirts off in there. I'm like, the rules change? I didn't know we was doing that down here now. But
yeah, I think it's lack of understanding or education. Lack of education when it comes to what it can do for you, right? Because
what you want it to do for you.
What you want it to do for you, how to apply the gym and lifting weights and working out to the field or to the court. But it's a lack of understanding and education for sure.
Who's responsible? Who's responsible for that information? Like, are you guys? Am I?
I think
we have to play our part.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm responsible. We're all responsible. Yeah. Anybody that cares about giving back to the community is responsible.
Right.
But ultimately, I think it starts in the home, because the parents have to understand what it's going to take if you want what's best for your kid. Your kid has dreams of playing college football, college basketball. It's not just what they do on the court, right? It's what they do in the classroom. But the weight room is going to make them such a much more explosive, bigger, stronger, faster. If I listen, what I do for a living, I'm a Air Force recruiter, right? I go to high schools. I talk to high schools all the time about their future goals, their career paths. A large percent of our young black students in this area think they're going to play pro ball at some level. They're going to play pro football. They're going to play pro basketball. At some point, the parents got to look at you, evaluate what you're doing from the time you wake up to the time you lay down, and say, that's not a realistic goal for you. All right? If you are 150 pounds, I don't care how fast you are. I don't care how high you can jump. You're 150 pounds. It's too competitive at the next level. You have to be in the weight room. You have to. It's not an option anymore.
There is somebody identical to you in Ohio, Kentucky, Florida,
everywhere.
And let's just say we don't know if they're working, okay? But
you got to assume
we have to assume that they're working. And if you are not, because if you're trying to just show up and just play, man, you better be special. And when I talk about the metrics, and this is the crazy thing that I try to make this make sense to people. There are metrics that you have to fit in football and basketball. All right? So if you're going to be 5'8", 5'9", and you're going to be a running back, then you got to be Barry Sanders.
You got to be big.
Oh yeah.
You got to be strong.
You got to be and Barry was no joke now. He could shake you, but he going to take a hit. Yeah, he was going to take a hit from a guy 300 pounds to get up.
He could also squat 600 pounds.
Yeah.
So let's not forget that.
Yeah, he's super strong. Right. Yeah, he's super strong. But you're that guy. And so if you try to measure that guy, okay, so I'm at South Charleston High School and I'm on the field. Am I Barry Sanders like? Okay, so if I'm small, am I Barry Sanders like? No. Okay, I don't have all that. Okay, so where am I going? Who's going to be looking at me? I'm too short. College is not going to take me because I'm not already showing them glimpses of what Barry looked like. Am I Randy Moss? Okay? Now,
Ain't too many of those.
Ain't too many of those. I'll make the case. I don't know if there's another one. But are you 6'5"? First of all, you probably playing basketball and not going to play football because you probably don't want that heat. Okay? But let's say you over there in football. You don't even have half of the idea what Randy Moss went through. I'm not talking socially. I'm talking about the physical work that he put in. And to me,
on top of being 6'5".
On top of being 6'5".
Right. Yeah.
You know, and people, I think people think that he woke up and just walked out on the field and was just great. No, there's work ethic there. There's work ethic in that 6'5". There's work ethic. And why is it that we don't, if we don't have work ethic, what you all do, you ain't making it.
You ain't gonna never.
And it's not just working out; it's eating and all of that.
It's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
right?
it is a true lifestyle. It is a lifestyle. How do we? Again, you don't have to be a power lifter. You know, be on stage, cut up, all that. But whatever it is that you got to do, the commitment is really the same. The commitment that you all make to the weight room every other day or every day is the same commitment that child needs to make to football every day. I did something with football every day. Every day. Everybody was saying, too small, too small, too small, too this, too that, too that. Okay. I'm in the backyard with plastic weights. They didn't even start. We got our first weight room at Marshall my rookie year. Weights just started becoming part of sports then. So imagine that. So now all of a sudden, I get a taste of weights, and man, I loved it. Get me in the weights. I loved it.
Be more about on Derrick's side on this one. I know when I was in high school, I would work out, but I didn't love it or want to. It was few times I tried to sneak off the hill, go home, and next thing you know, it's a knock on the door. It's coach talking about, hey, coach, I got paper to write. Yeah, after practicing these weights, come on, let's get it.
Yeah. And see, you know, and I get it. I know that I was just totally lost in it. I was sucked up in it in every piece of it. So anything that you could give me that was helpful, I wanted it. You know, I wanted it.
But and that's why you made it, coach.
Well, and I totally 100% buy that. But again, what I'll say is that's why you did it. How I did it is exactly how you're doing it now. Exactly how you're doing it now, and exactly how Wes is doing it. I mean, the room with you three guys are doing something, because at the point of the reasoning for the whole show is solely going to be, at the end of the day, I'm hoping people will get this. There is a commitment and a discipline that comes with something that you love. And sometimes you can hate it, but you'll love to hate it. Because that day you don't want to go, you got something else you want to do, and you crawl into the weight room, you crawl and get out the bed at 5:45 and think, oh man, I got to go make this run. I ain't trying to do it. And you go and get it done. That's the player, that's the lifter, that's the body sculpture that is ultimately going to win.
Yep.
And if you don't have that, I don't know what to tell you.
And that's how I separate the people that really have the passion to work out to keep up with it. Because they ask me if they can work out with me, and I say, I'll be at the gym at 5 a.m. I'll see you there. And they don't show up. Ain't nobody showing up. I don't even go at 5 a.m. I just know they're not going to be there at 5 a.m. So I can tell them whatever I want, right? But they're not going to be there. And they let me know that. They say, hey, I can't be there at 5 a.m. I got to do this. Okay, then you're not ready to work out with me then. Because if you're ready to work out with me, okay, 5 a.m., I'll see you there.
All right, so we got just a little bit more time here. I'm going to go and give you each a chance to, if you've got a message for anybody who's trying to be successful. Doesn't really even matter that whether it's football, whether it's basketball, whether it's weightlifting, whether it's bodybuilding, whatever that thing is, the commitment, the importance of commitment to you. How do you when you view your commitment to powerlifting, if you had to describe it, how would you describe it? And they all might end up being somewhat the same, but I'm just throwing it around the room.
It's an obsession for me.
Exactly.
It's an obsession. It's
obsessed.
a magnificent obsession.
It's, I guess for me, it'd probably be like setting goals, and once I achieve it, like I got lucky because when I was working out with Coach Mess, at one point, a gentleman was literally ranked top 10 strongest people on the planet Earth. This is 2017, 2016. So I always picked his brain. I was never scared to ask questions. And that's the thing. I think this generation is scared to ask questions because I was annoying about it. I didn't care. I wanted to get stronger. I wanted to set a mark in something. Like, it's going to sound funny, but I was a walking freak show. I had one leg and I was strong as heck. And I embraced that. So I didn't care to ask questions. If I couldn't find the answer, I didn't have a problem looking it up or read a lot of magazines, powerlifting, numbers, Googled any kind of information I can get on the bench press guy, on how they do this, what's their technique, how they place their feet, like every little thing, every detail was a factor. So I did not hesitate. If I didn't know it, I asked questions or I looked for it. If nobody couldn't find the answer I wanted to, I looked it up. But it's always been like, cannot be scared to ask questions, take any advice given to you. And then once I found out I was good at it, I just ran with it, never looked back.
And there's something about knowing that you're good at it is that you don't just know. There's something that there's facts behind your knowing, you know, because everybody, you know, you could get all conference or something like that and think you're really, really good. But until you get that D1 scholarship and you get to write your name, no, you're not that good. You need the facts. You got on stage and you've been on stage 3 times, won the overall twice, and first place in your group once. What advice do you have for somebody who's out there who's looking to do something? Maybe it's this, maybe it's anything.
You gotta be consistent. Consistency is what's gonna get you there in anything, whether it's bodybuilding, getting that promotion. You gotta stick to your grind and just keep pushing forward no matter what's going on. You gotta keep working because somebody else out there is gonna be working.
I hear you.
I try to tell my sons that all the time because he always say he want to be a basketball player. He want to go to the NBA. So I tell him, dude, you got to quit thinking that you just competing against the people around here in this area. It's 49 other states.
Right.
So while you in bed or you playing Xbox, somebody else is out there putting work in.
It's international too.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So it's while you sleeping on the Xbox, it's another kid out there that's like, you know what? I love the Xbox, but I love this basketball more. I'm going to get the work in. I'll play the game later. And that's the difference, is that work ethic, like you said. And I think a lot of parents want their kids to be superstars, but then they don't instill the work ethic on them. And a perfect thing a coach said on Instagram, she said, all these parents and kids got these NBA dreams. So they got Gucci dreams, but they got Kmart and Walmart work ethic.
Ooh.
So they not working hard.
Ooh.
They want the big dream.
Say that again. Somebody might have missed it.
They got the Gucci dream, Kmart, Walmart work ethic, which means, you know, you think you can just watch it, work on it every now and then. Well, there's somebody else out there that's watching it, putting in that work, and they gonna get there.
I hear you. Derrick.
I just want to say we got to start doing what's best for us as individuals and not what's popular. The popular thing always seems to sit on the throne. There's a kid trying to make all conference in football right now that could be a world champion bodybuilder. That could be a world champion wrestler. All right. But that's not cool. That's not popular in our community. Right.
You're right.
So find out what's best for you, because you're going to fall in love with what you're good at. If you find out you're good, if I find out I'm good at country music, you know what I'm doing tomorrow?
Singing.
I'm singing, right? And I don't even like country music, but I'm gonna sing, right? So we got to start doing what's best for us. What's the long-term goal, all right? And then we got to be realistic about our dreams. Why do I feel like I can be a champion? Well, because I've been in the gym with champions. I've worked out with champions. Champions told me I could be a champion. So that's why I feel that way. But you got to be realistic. Not everybody can be a champion. You might not have the work ethic. You might not have the genetics. You might not be strong enough, and you ain't ever going to be strong enough. But find what you're good at and pursue your passion.
All right, and I'm gonna close on this note. I can remember talking about wanting to play on Sunday, and a whole host of people were naysayers and saying, "Oh, do this, all this. You got to be careful. You can't put all your eggs in one basket." Blah 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 blah. And on the other side, I had Robert Alexander saying to me, "Bro, you can work for it." Okay, wait a minute. Wait. You saying if I go to work, if I do this workout, these kind of workouts, get up in the morning, do these kind of things, I got a shot? Yes. Now, who am I going to believe? I can't hear all this other stuff. And again, graduating at 155, there's a possibility that that's not happening. That dream can't happen. But what this dude who was the best back in the nation is telling me how I can do it, I'm buying into him, the people who ain't never played.
Absolutely.
You know, I already know. Everybody thinking he going pro. You know, he was 4 years ahead of me. And he's guiding me through how to work out my work just like his. Anything he would do, I was trying to do. And I was not the best player, and I was not the Kennedy Award winner. I wasn't the best player in the state. Wasn't nobody even thinking about me being the best player in the state. I go to Marshall when Marshall was nothing. And nobody, I could have went to Fairmont, Concord, some of those places. Those were the best offers I had. And Marshall offered me. So I'll go. We weren't winning. I didn't leave. Why I didn't leave? I'm playing. Why am I going to move up? Where am I going to go? What am I going for? I'm on the field. And I'm trying to ball out. I got a coach who played in the league. I ain't leaving. I got ball approved by DB coach. I ain't leaving. So making the point that somewhere you have to buy into the relevance of yourself and put that kind of work in that you can see. That can anybody question you? I can believe that when you guys are up there, when you get ready to walk on the stage, you already think that you put in all the work that you need, and you done peaked some other people. You're like, no, I got this. I got this. That ain't cocky. That ain't arrogant. That's just work. You've done the work, and now you see that, oh, my results is going to be better than theirs. They're going to be asking me, what do I do? And apparently, that's what's happened. So, guys, congratulations. I appreciate you having you on the show. And this is Carl Lee with Let's Talk, and we'll be back with you next week.
The opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of WVRC Media, its management, employees, or sponsors. Contact Carl Lee on email, letstalkcarllee@gmail.com, or text 409-422-7539.